Hey fellas, me Trapper here. Today I'm going to talk about water filtration and purification and why I use the system that I use. So stay tuned. Now there are a lot of people that use a filter system such as this Sawyer Squeeze or the Sawyer Mini. There's nothing wrong with those filter systems, they work. But for me, a filter system can be problematic. Number one, it's kind of fiddly in that you have to have the filter. With that Sawyer system, you've got to have a bag to collect the dirty water. You've got to have a bag to collect the clean water. And if one of your bags breaks, then your system is not functional. They also have to be backwashed on a regular basis, depending upon how silty and turbid your water is. I had a friend who went out on the trail with his Sawyer filter. He had backflushed it at home with his tap water, and there was so much particulates in his tap water that when the filter dried, the particulates attached to the fibers and it blocked the filter. He had to throw the filter away and get a new one. So he did everything right, and it still failed him when he got out in the field. What I use is a chemical purification system, and particularly the system that I use is the Aquamira water treatment system. Now the Aquamira system, and I'm going to show you how this works, is a two-part system. For 1 quart or 1 liter of water, you put 7 drops of chemical A into a cap with 7 drops of chemical B. You let it react and it forms chlorine dioxide, which is what purifies the water. The problem with chemical purification, though, is that if you have particulates in your water, any type of viruses or contaminants such as cryptosporidium or anything like that, it's much harder to kill those with chemicals when there's a high degree of particulates in your water. The chemicals have to not only go through the water, but they have to work their way through the particulates and the sediment to get inside of that, so that when you ingest all of that, you're not ingesting something that hasn't been killed. Now, if you're in an area where you have mountain streams and crystal clear water and there's runoff from the glaciers and all of that, that's not a concern. But when you're looking at water that looks like this, that is a different story. You can see sediment and particulates are a big deal. So how do you handle water like that? Now, if I were to run water like that through my filter, it would clog up in no time. So what I have to do is use something like a pre-filter when I'm in the swamp. Now, what I use is a millbank bag. Now, a millbank bag is a canvas bag that you put the raw, untreated water in. It drips through the bottom, and what it does is it filters out all the sediment and the particulates, and it leaves you clear water that you can then put your chemicals into. So it's a heavy-duty pre-filter. The millbank bag was originally introduced by the British Army in the jungles of Malaya in World War II. Now, I've got an original World War II millbank bag. I don't use it. I keep it as a collector's item. And I've also done a video on millbank bags. I'll put a link to it above, and you can check that video out. I did it several years ago. But let me show you how this system works and why I use it and why it may be of interest to you. Okay, your millbank bag is a specially woven canvas bag, and the first thing that you have to do is get it wet and completely saturate the canvas. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to fill the bag up with water all the way to the very top, to the top. Then you're going to let it run down to this line right here. Once the water level gets to this line, then you'll put your container under the bottom and collect the runoff. The reason that you let this run to waste is you want to make sure that the fibers are fully swelled and fully engorged with water, so that you're not letting particulates through. So what I've done is I've come over to the pond and I've just found a little area that's a little bit clearer than all of this algae out here, and that's what I'm going to try and get the water out of, and without stirring up more sediment than I absolutely have to. Now we're going to let that run off to waste until the water level gets to approximately this line. The reason that line is at an angle is when you hang it, the bag is going to hang at an angle. So that's now level. Now that the water has reached the safe level, I've put my Nalgene under there, and we're just going to let that clear water collect in the bottom of the Nalgene. Now, while that's going on, let's go ahead and mix our chemicals. There's part A, and there is part B. So we're going to take the little mixing cap off, and we're going to use 7 drops of this and 7 drops of that. We're going to wait 5 minutes for it to fully react. Then we'll dump it in there, shake it up, and we're done. You can see that's already starting to turn yellow. We're just going to give it 5 minutes, and that's when our water should be finished dripping. Now while we wait for this to pre-filter, one thing to know about your millbank bag is when you first get it, it's going to be very, very stiff. And it's going to be more like a canvas bucket than a canvas pre-filter. If you take it right out of the box, fill it up with water, nothing is going to come out the bottom. You're going to be very disappointed. What you have to do is you have to saturate it, and then you have to scruff it up. You have to work it, twist it, knead it, then let it dry out in the sun, and then repeat that process 4 or 5 times. And when the bag starts to get soft, when it starts to soften up, then it's ready to use, and you'll get a decent flow rate, something like that. If you're not getting that kind of flow rate out of your bag, you need to work on it some more. You can also put it in the the clothes washer without any detergent or fabric softeners or anything, and just bounce it around in there. That also works. But the main thing is work it, get it soft, get it pliable and flexible, and don't get in a hurry. This is a lifetime investment. These bags are not cheap, and there are a lot of DIY things on the internet about using pants legs and blue jean legs and all of that to sew one up. This canvas is so finely woven, it will filter out about 50% of 1 micron particulates like cryptosporidium. This bag doesn't make the water safe to drink, it makes it safe to treat. But this is a very fine pre-filter. One of the things that we as Americans are used to is instant gratification. We're used to going to the store and pulling out the credit card and, you know, getting a filter, taking it out in the woods and using it and having water that's ready to drink. And this just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of patience. But you'll be rewarded with a lifetime of service. And hopefully you can see that. Let me see if that's showing up. Yeah, that's good and yellow. That's ready to use. That's what we're looking for. All right, looks like we are about done. And you can see that is perfectly clear water. All of the crap that you see is on the outside of the bottle from the leaves down there. So this has been pre-filtered, but it's not safe to drink. We're going to take our Aqua Mira, which is now formed chlorine dioxide, and you can see how yellow that is. And we are simply going to pour that in there, put the lid on, we're going to shake it up, we're going to wait a few minutes till it's ready. We're going to wait about 15 minutes or so, make sure that it's good and reacted in there. So while I wait for the chemicals to take effect, I'm going to go ahead and start hiking again. But as far as the bag goes, just wring it out, fold it up, roll it up, put it in your pack, put it in your pocket, whatever. It's a very, very low-tech device. and it'll last you a lifetime. If it ever gets clogged, you know, if you have leaves or some really thick mud that got in it, all you do is just turn the bag inside out and wash it off in the creek, or you know, or in the lake, or what have you. So anyway, when I'm in very turbid conditions, a lot of swamp water, this is the system that I use, not a mechanical filter, and that's why. I hope this was useful, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.